Warhammer has another classic on their hands as Space Marine 2, a third-person shooter hack and slash video game developed by Saber Interactive and published by Focus Interactive, has made their stamp on 2024. Because one thing to note about 2024 is that the overall landscape of Game of the Year contenders is very slim. So for two games to come back to back and seemingly have just the front runner when it comes to the overall Game of the Year race when we're in September is very interesting, and just showcase how 2024 hasn't been lackluster, but just hasn't been filled with just straight 10 out of 10s like a Baldur's Gate or an Elden Ring. Because of course the DLC came out this year, but who's really gonna nominate or just let alone let a DLC be Game of the Year, right? If that's the case, then all of these different games are going to start putting out DLCs who win Game of the Year, and people are just gonna have a hard conversation as far as the ability to let DLCs win certain awards. So with that set to the side, no need to jump the gun on this one, as Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 was released September 9th for PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series X and S. Now, one of the things I love to get into is video game sales, because the biggest thing when it comes to gaming is that everybody plays primarily the same games when it comes to Call of Duty, first-person shooter type games, or sports games. That's usually the top 5 of every single platform. But if I have it right here, I believe. Yeah. So for Xbox, for PlayStation, and for Steam, we're going to get into the actual stats for Warhammer, as 116,000 people are playing the game right now, and it has a consistency of 150,000 as far as how many people continuously play the game. So Warhammer is the 6th most played game on Steam. So with that being said, let's switch over to the PlayStation platform. So this was interesting because, interestingly enough, Warhammer is nowhere to be found in the top 10 as far as PlayStation games. I don't know if PlayStation gamers just don't play games, or if one of the games I've already got into, as far as Astro Bot, was just so phenomenal, they tried to push Warhammer to the back. Because the biggest thing with Astro Bot is that it is definitely a Game of the Year contender. Whenever you compare a game to Mario and people are actually okay with that comparison, you realize that this game must be on another level. Because if you don't know, Mario is the greatest video game character ever created. So if you're comparing a PlayStation exclusive, which just started out as a character to get you used to the adaptive triggers on PlayStation, but now it has its own game, and people are comparing it to Mario, and the general consensus is that they agree with the comparison, you come to realize that Astro Bot is definitely number one when it comes to a front runner for Game of the Year. So Warhammer is nowhere to be found on PlayStation's top 10 games list. So switching over to Xbox, that is where it gets interesting, because of course that is where I think I lost my place. I definitely lost my place. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that is where Warhammer is actually the 2nd most played game on the platform. So for Xbox players out here, I mean, it's not like Astro Bot could be. No, just play. Let me chill. All right, my fault. I didn't mean to do all that. So basically, Space Marine 2 is the 2nd most played game on the Xbox platform, whereas on the PlayStation platform, even though they have the game, it's not even in the top 10. So I thought that was interesting to point out, because on Steam, it's the top 6 most played game. It's the number 6 most played game on Steam. So interesting how that works out. I don't know if it's politics. I don't know what it is, but as far as it being on all the platforms and only being in the top 10 on 2 of them, whereas one has an exclusive doing pretty well right now. I don't know if there's politics, or I don't know if people actually are playing Astro Bot over Warhammer, which if they are, I mean, it makes sense, because that's on my list to play. I mean, I have Outlaws and Astro Bot on my list as far as this month to play, and Warhammer's not even It's not even on my list. Not saying it's a bad game. It's just I don't want to get into it. But what we are going to get into as far as this specific segment is the review roundup and the sales. So like I just said, with the different platforms, Warhammer is the sixth most played game on Steam, the second most played game on Xbox, and when it comes to being a top seller, it was a number one top seller, surpassing Steam Deck and CS2 microtransactions. So when it comes to other platforms, when the quality level is being basically when the quality level is being looked at, a lot of people are saying that the multiplayer mode includes a lot of cooperative and competitive modes, but has been critiqued for not having a deep long-term engagement, which the game just came out. So I don't know how much credence you can give to that. Overall, the game is the fastest selling ever, worked on by Saber Interactive CEO Tim Willits. I think that's how you say it. So it's the fastest game ever worked on by the CEO. Oh no, ever worked on, but by Saber Interactive. So it's outperforming previous Warhammer titles on Steam, such as Total Warhammer 3 and every other entry into Warhammer, because they said it's the fastest ever. Fastest selling ever probably means that it beat out every other installment in the franchise. So that is to say that Warhammer definitely has a lot of lore. That's what I realized getting into the community, that the overall story of Warhammer is, elongated. It's not even the right word. It's just a very, very deep story as far as what they've written so far. So this just plays off of that. But if you want to learn the entire story, it may take you a while. But apparently there are channels out there with like 16 hours of wrap up. It's like, at that point, my brother, just watch the movie. Like, goodness. So anyways, when it comes to Warhammer currently, a lot of the players are just talking about the game, saying that the experience is very, very engaging, and people are very much in enjoyment of the replayable missions and the way that you can attack different missions, differently, and the emphasis on customization, allowing players to tailor their Space Marines appearance and gear. That's a standout for people. If you don't know, there's 6 different classes, as you can see right here. Analytic Dreamz videos on Spotify to see the video along with the audio for my people listening on podcast. There's a tactical, assault, vanguard, a bulwark. What in the world? I don't know what that is. Sniper, and then heavy. So from first glance, it does seem like bulwark, whatever that is, seems to be the most physical one, as it has a sword and a shield, and all the other classes have guns. Well, no, the assault has like a hammer. I don't know what that is. So anyways, those are the 6 different classes. As far as the combat, let's just say it's beyond brutal. As far as the gore, as you can see right now, they definitely don't shy away from the amount of blood that's coming out of the enemies. So the superhuman combat abilities definitely play a part into the intense action against the hordes of the Tyranids. I think that's how you say it. The Tyranids? I don't know. I don't know how you pronounce it. Let me see. Hold up.
Tyranids and
the Tyranids. It's probably Tyranids. That's funny. I had to read it out to me. I still don't agree with it. So anyways, as far as the reception, across the board, people have been giving it high praise. As far as IGN, IGN has praised it for its engaging combat, giving it an 8.5 out of 10, talking about the compelling story, the variety of weapons, the engaging combat. GameSpot gave it an 8 out of 10, basically highlighting the game's brutal and riveting action, noting that it's a worthy successor to the original. PC Gamer gave it a 75 out of 100, saying they appreciated the game's initial impact, but they said it felt, that 75 out of 100 is definitely one of the lower scores. It says it felt like it lost momentum over time. That's interesting. And then VG247, I do know that gaming company, but I forgot it had so many different letters and numbers attached to it, like goodness. But anyways, they called it one of the best Warhammer games ever released, and said that it's a faithful adaptation to the Warhammer universe. Like I said, it's a lot of lore that goes into Warhammer, and when it comes to lore, I mean, you might as well just play the game because it's going to take you a while to learn what's all going on in the Warhammer universe. But ultimately, it's a PvE type of game, meaning that you play with players, but you're going against the computer. So that's what PvE means. So what else? There was something else I was wanting to get into. I think it may be it. Okay. So it's just Astro Bot news. Y'all probably don't want to hear about that. So yeah, that's basically it. Overall, as far as a slasher game when it comes to shooting and hack and slash and having a video game with so much lore and depth and actually caring about the world that is crafting, and if you just want to shoot around with your buddies, I mean, this is one of the perfect games to pick up with a friend or things of that nature. So from the general consensus, people are saying that this is one of the game of the year contenders, and we'll see if it actually ends up keeping that spot in the near future. So with that being said, click my link tree in my bio. Let me know on one of my social medias. What do you think about Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2? And with it already being released on September 9th for PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series X and S, will you be giving it a try?